So you guys saw my alert this morning. I mean, I hope you guys did. I said I was bullish. Um, when did I send this? I said looking for London highs is dull at 9:25. I said 7:45 and 4:45 low needed to stay untouched. And then at 10:01, London high got taken on Nasdaq. So this is exactly what I was looking at and how I built my narrative. You go to the 4 hour. You can see that we had that Sunday open, very small wick, and open low. So whenever you're bullish or bearish on the week, you want to see what Sunday does. Since this is your new week opening, right? So this is important. If your new week opening candle is opening low, that normally sets up a bullish framework because every bullish candle is open, low, high, close, right? So that's why I was calling for this new day opening gap to get touched. You're sitting inside of a 4 hour for value gap, but more importantly, and you can see the candle bodies, right? But if you go to the hourly, what do I always talk about? Failure swings, right? It's not really present on the hourly, but if you go to the 15-minute, it's very clear. You have all these swing lows here, 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 here. So what's the most logical area that you can form a reversal from? This low. You can see how much space is between this low and this low, right? And then this low. So this is where I'm anticipating some sort of reversal to occur. But what do we need? We need something significant on the higher time frame, right? You're looking at the hourly, nothing's happening. You're just rejecting this hourly for value gap. So you're just waiting. We're waiting for 9:30. And this is how I also knew. So this is that logical area where we can expect a reversal from. Now nothing's happening. We take this low again, or we take a new low. Are you getting any sort of reversal confirmation? No. So what happens again? We have another low. And this low is important. Why? It's formed during the London session. You see how we take this low and we close back into the range? If we look at ES, here's the same low at 4 a.m. Never gets taken. And you can see how ES, if we're looking at this low, because this is the low, that was the last swing low was taken, you can see how every single pretty much candle body is closing back in the range. So now we have SMT, here's 4 a.m., and here's 7 a.m. So this 4 a.m. low got taken. And if you look at YM, which was the weakest pair overnight, because if you look at the hourly, you can see that YM didn't even have a wick on its, right here, on its Sunday opening gap. So just straight open low. Here's that same relevant low. We drop into the 15-minute. Or we can use the hourly because we were using that earlier. Look, here's that midnight low. This is the relevant area where we need price to reverse from. Why? Because we're in London session. So if we have a London reversal, then you're expecting New York to continue. Hourly CSD. This is your strongest asset. So you get the hourly CSD at 9 a.m. Notice how we take this low, close very far back in the range. SMT with ES and Q. And that's how I built my narrative. And that's why I thought these lows should stay protected. And what happens after consolidation? Always expansion. Which way was it most likely to expand? Well, you know that this low is most likely not going to get taken with this framework that we just went over. So if we're consolidating, we're going to expand higher to what logical level? The opening price on Sunday. And even range high. Now look at YM. The strongest asset, 18 and range high. Where do we frame the reversal from? Look at Nasdaq. Logical level met, and we don't. Does that make any sort of sense? And the lower time frame, how do we confirm all this even more? Are we looking at NASDAQ? Like we said, we took our relevant swing low. We're inside of a 4-hour fair value gap. What do we want our news driver to do? We want our driver to confirm our narrative. So what's 930 do? Open lows. That's exactly how you want your candle to form when you're bullish. If we have a protected swing low, you can see you can just buy the 15-minute order block. 930 validates this down close candle as an order block. And you can see open low again. And then most importantly, 10 a.m. open low or open high. And then you can see finally open low one more time. 15-minute order block. And all your goals met. Time confirms what we were looking for. And 10 a.m. is expanding towards our drawn liquidity. And if you look at the 4-hour, look at this 10 a.m. 4-hour candle. Decently small wick. And we're not expecting a large range. It's Monday. Logical levels we're expecting price to seek to. Anybody have any questions? And I can go over it one more time if needed. And then I'm going to go over Tesla and just show you guys what I was looking at. If anybody was looking at that alert. And even ES, if you look at ES, after this expansion, ES was the stronger pair, but weaker at open. And then once NASDAQ started getting stronger, the strength flipped again. Here, you can see after this 5-minute close, over in this area during lunch hour, NASDAQ finally caught up to ES, and they kind of hit this at the same time. So this is at 2:30. I believe they kind of hit this at the same time. Yeah, 2:45. Actually, you can see ES hit it later. So that's what I'm talking about. You'll see that all the time. Alright, no questions, so I'm just going to go to Tesla. Same kind of thing. Like, I'm not somebody to tell you, like, the market is just coded by one algorithm. Like, yes, I trade ICT. Do I believe that everything runs off of a fair value gap and an order block? No. I know JP Morgan's not setting limit orders at a down close candle and being like, yeah, I'm buying this bullish order block. There's definitely a mix, but the concepts obviously work. We see them work every single day. But use the logical ones and then pair it with narrative. Because the narrative is the only reason that any of your trades are going to work. And so this is what I was looking at on Tesla again. So this is your only pool liquidity. Whenever you have this kind of very shallow run, don't expect that to hold, especially when you're in a range. But if you zoom out, Tesla is relatively bullish for the time being, right? We swept this low. We kind of expanded a little bit. So we are entering a new phase of price. So we're either going to, you can either consolidate, expand, or reverse. We did take out this high, so you have to kind of be careful with longs. But we are in a lower time frame range. And so what I saw was the same kind of thing that I was just showing you guys on the indices. So here's your swing low, and here's your relatively swing low, but this swing low is not close enough to this or these. So these are your equal lows, ideally. And look at what 930 does. 930, same thing. Very small wick, open low, just straight down close candles. So you have to ask yourself, who's making money in this market, right, in this move? Obviously shorts. So once all the sell side liquidity gets taken, and we know it's a Monday, we know that we're in a range, we're not expecting a continuation sell off all the way through this low, because what your next lows are all the way down here, right? This should be a relatively short-term low for the time being, especially for a Monday. 10:30, key time, 10 a.m., right? You can see 10 a.m. once again, open high, shallow run lower, takes out all of our failure swings. And this is why you don't want to be chasing price. Even though we have an hourly CSD, this is inefficient up here. We had a large opposing run in one direction. On a Monday, do not continue to chase price. If you're going to short anything, at least wait for a retracement up in this area. So that's literally all I saw. And if you drop down to the lower time frame, even if you just look at the 1 minute, you can see that these down close candles are starting to close above, and that these are all starting to kind of be used as support. And you can see the expansion afterwards. So consolidation after a logical level, time being met, and just inefficient area of price up top. I'm not sure how far this ran, but yeah, so it doesn't even get to the 930, but look what it does get to. 10 a.m. high. And that was really my target. And this was that same 230 was that same time that Nasdaq and ES filled its new day opening gaps. So if anything, your shorts should have been added above this 10 a.m. high. Any questions? I accepted your invite, Italian shoes. I don't know what happened, unless you didn't mean to do that. So what about Tesla for the rest of the week? See, this is where, in my opinion, like even if these shorts work, you do not want to be trading when it's like this. I will not. You don't want to be touching something in this area. In my opinion, I won't touch something when it's in this tight of a range. Opportunity is born when either side gets hit. So you can just lose money from price just bouncing in this area. So if we displace through this low, then yes, look for continuation. If we take this high and come back into the range, you could maybe form a setup to the downside. But you primarily don't want to be caught in this. That's how I look at it. You can save yourself a lot of money like that. And especially since it just expanded, right? So after expansion, you can expect consolidation because price isn't just going to continue to expand and expand and expand. It can after consolidation, right? But it's not just going to continue to go up. A logical level was hit, right? This was your highest high. This was your range high from here to here, right? This was the high that took this low. So once price meets this level, you can expect some sort of resistance here. And you're entering a new phase of price, so you have to be careful. But wouldn't we clear that imbalance up top? What do you mean? On what time frame? What's your higher time frame outlook on ES on the hourly? Wouldn't we clear this? Is that what you're this? Is this what you're talking about? Yes. But wouldn't we clear that imbalance? Why? I mean, you have no idea if it's going to, right? That's what I'm like. So many, you guys are trying to trade like the wrong things. You don't want to be trading this. I'm telling you, you'll just save yourself so much money. After a reversal signature is put in, something like this low is taken, so you could form a reversal off here. And if your setup is permitted in here, what happens after consolidation? Only expansion. Always ask yourself, which way is it logically going to expand? You want to be getting in down here to target these highs. You don't want to be getting in here to target this high after the most obvious draw on liquidity just got hit. You're just chasing for absolutely zero reason. What's your higher time frame outlook on ES and NQ? Now that was hit, I could definitely see us retracing lower. But there's no reason to be like some mega bear. Like this isn't. Yes, there's SMT at the highs, right? I said this in my outlook. If we start rapidly displacing away from this area, right, with the closure underneath this low, then yeah, I'll be looking for shorts into this low and this low. But the chart has expanded higher. There's zero reason to be like, yep, we're capitulating this week. And we also have FOMC, so we have no idea what that's gonna say. Is Starbucks gonna rob me? Rob you of what? What are you in shorts? What is it, STBX? I don't even know what this is. SBX? SBUX? Yeah, there it is. This looks good for lower. This looks good for this down here. Everything just continued to get rejected so far. But once again, you've already expanded a lot. This is that relevant level. We just took this relevant level. This is not a failure swing. This is a long-term low. So you kind of have to be careful now. But you could frame. Yeah, see how there's not anything really over to the left here? And see how there's failure swings to the highs? See if we would clear these out and then a reversal signature gets put in, then maybe you could target this low. But again, this is something where if you're trying to day trade this, I would say hands off. But that's just how I trade. I don't really trade individual stocks either. Yeah, calls don't look bad. But then again, like I just said, there's failure swings to the highs. So ideally, you wouldn't want to be shorting. So it's not a bad idea to be in longs. Yeah, like I'm not one of those guys to believe there's like those news events carry no weight. The only thing that I agree with is like the intraday news, like the 10 a.m. stuff or like 8:30. Depending on the 8:30 news, if it's CPI, we'll obviously not trade before. NFP will not trade before, but if it's some like little stupid 8:30 news, that's not gonna nuke my stop loss. But 10 a.m. news, same thing. I normally should just let it play out anyways, but sometimes I will hold a trade through it. Nobody has any idea what FOMC is gonna do. Anybody have any other questions? Yeah, I got it. If it keeps selling. Yeah, I got it. 71 if it keeps selling. You should be alright, bro. At least these highs should be cleared. But I need to. That's what I'm trying to learn, at least, or pick up on a few things from TT and JBev and Swami and Alex. That they look at stocks and they look at options. Well, Alex doesn't really trade options, but Bev and TT do. I don't really know how these individual names work too well. I've never really studied them. So I'm kind of learning too. But I know price works in the same way. And I don't love using ICT concepts. Like these these aren't fair value gaps, like these gaps and stuff. So it's a little different. And I gotta kind of learn how to do that, but the dynamic of a candle still works the exact same way. That's what I was trying to bring across to you guys on Tesla. About to be 10 red days in a row.